72K cash collected with just 19 sales calls booked. And if you are a coach in the info space, this is probably going to make you mad because this is way more simple than you think it is. And especially with this offer that we are managing at the moment. As you can see, like the proof is here from one Stripe account for another Stripe account, 72.8K cash collected with just 19 calls booked at a plus 70% close rate. Marketing strategy that we followed for this, just to make it clear, we literally only had a micro niche YouTube channel tied to a triage funnel and a webinar. That's the only two things that we did to actually hit these numbers with only 19 calls booked. On the webinar, same strategy as you've seen in probably like all the other webinars. Obviously, there's nuances and complexities to each one and how it is set up, how we should do it depending on how sophisticated your prospects are or how busy your prospects are, in this case specifically. So following the same Instagram stories, email sequences, having a framework for all the backend automations, the DM automations, all the tech setup. Starting with the micro niche YouTube channel, only thing that we do here is focusing on our ICP using top of the funnel content, even if it's not lifestyle. We always focus on mindset in this specific one because we don't want to attract those people that are low quality clients specifically for this offer, since we need them to have a certain degree of experience in the space. And second thing, for them not to be absolute donkeys, because I'm pretty sure you don't want absolute donkeys if you're in your program. If you're the one coaching, you want to actually get them results. So you have always the top of the funnel views, bottom of the funnel views with case studies, as you can see, that's myself there, and middle of the funnel views, actually selling them on value, edge them with value for the most part. You don't want to give out too much where they feel like they're getting everything they need, but always giving them something that moves them forward and moves the needle forward to them booking a call and actually having a high interest level for them to go into your funnel and actually potentially close. So all the things that we do here are intentional, and every single video should be crafted with intention to make sure that we're reframing limiting beliefs that are common in your industry, that you're seeing your sales call from your prospects, objections that you're getting, and making sure that in the middle of the video you can actually target those and shift their perspective by actually teaching them how to do it, when to do it, why they should be doing it, right? Because no one is going to shape their belief from just short form content for 40 seconds if they don't know who you are or what the fuck you do or what kind of experience do you have or what's your expertise, right? And educational videos focusing on core pain points, which is what most of these people are struggling for. This is a sales offer where most people just struggle with creating urgency, with objections, with discovery, with desire, with gaps, with consequence, right? So we make sure to target all of those things and just getting them into a triage funnel. Then we go into webinar. We did this webinar to max out our current audience, which was very small at the time. We only had around 1.5K actual followers on the IG account that we're promoting this in. And sequence is always the same. It's talking about what you're going to do, talking about the registrations that you have, your case studies, doing a hard CTA and making sure that the copy is targeted towards your ICP and what they're struggling for to just create that pain and urgency in the story itself so they have a reason to actually opt in for the webinar and have an interest to actually go through all the pre-webinar resources that will make you have a high show-up rate. So how was this? Just an email campaign. We literally had everything tailored to our ICP with the brand value, with the voice of the owner, doing all the copywriting, having AI systems do it with us so we can leverage that, because I know that it's always very, very hard for you to just tear out a blank page and come out of nowhere with copy. So we make sure to leverage all of those things and make sure it's targeted towards our ICP and build that urgency all the time, keeping the interest levels at an all-time high so we can have the most amount of show-ups in the webinar itself. We don't want to do it too far apart and we don't want to do it too early. So that's why we always announce it 10 days before, especially if it is organic. If it is on-paid traffic, it can take way longer depending on what you're doing. If it's a 2-day challenge, 3-day challenge, or if it's just a cold traffic webinar, like a 1-day webinar standard, can be a little bit more, right? On top of that, we have SMS workflows. Obviously, we need to make sure that these guys are reminded of this shit because some of them are not going to check out their emails, but they are going to check out their phone notifications. We don't want to be too annoying, so only thing that we do is just initial text plus calendar confirmation, have a 4-day text sequence before the webinar starts. We're not going to be too annoying with this. We're going to try to lead with value with these reminders as well, and a same-day webinar reminder. That's the only thing that you know that you need to do, especially on this one, which just had very, very low volume on the webinar itself, with very high-quality leads, of course, but we did follow-ups post-webinar. What this means is that 15 minutes after the webinar started, we actually just reached out to all of them, making sure that they know, okay, this was starting today, just in case they forgot about the date, about the hour, whatever they thought it was a different time. We did this. This is optional. So, in terms of the landing pages that we use for both of these funnels, it's probably going to get you mad because you might have paid for whatever fancy website or anything, something like that, which sometimes you do need, but for our offers specifically and for some offers, you don't need some fancy animation. You just need clear headlines, value proposition, CTAs, and case studies. As you can see, this is for the evergreen funnel that we're running with the Micro Niche YouTube channel. We just do a call out for high closers to book in a one-to-one strategy call with the team, see how we can get them to 15, 25K in commissions. And we make sure that we tell them in the videos itself, there's a 15-minute call. There's just a triage call where there's no space, there's no pressure, there's nothing at all, just to see if they're even a good fit for the program. And this is not some fake urgency or fake claim. Like, we actually make sure to do this all the time. Obviously showing them results, showing client case studies and everything. For the webinar, we did the same thing. We kept following the same brand values of the offer, the same coloring, the same style that we had before. Because if you have a proven action that's been successful before, just repeat it. There's no reason to drift away from all of the things that you've been doing if you want to scale. Sometimes you do need to, sometimes you don't. In this case specifically, we didn't. So what did we do? Same thing. Just make sure, clear headline, how new high ticket sales reps can go from starting on terrible offers to making 180K a year by skill niching. Figure out a cool name for the webinar and making sure that they know what they're going to be getting in this webinar, plus case studies, of course, and bonuses. So they actually have a sense of urgency to actually opt in, watch the emails, watch all the pre-webinar resources, and then show up to the webinar to keep their interest levels at a high rate, just like I was talking before. To do all of this, we have obviously backend systems, and just to tell you the tech stack that was used on this one specifically, we just use CloseCRM, Calendly, ConvertKit, Zapier, and Stripe. From the moment they watch the webinar CTAs on the stories, we just have them submit a form with their email and numbers, automatically send them to a CRM entry so that we have all of them organized for the sales team to actually take a look at. We send the value emails that they should be sent, so we're not broadcasting to our entire email sequence, and making sure that open rates are always at an all-time high and that we're not hurting our email health. On top of that, have SDR systems. On this webinar specifically, you don't need to do this is optional. We had them dial in before the webinar with the excuse that we were running out of spots. This was completely false, of course, but just to create some sort of urgency, where we said something like, yo, this is X, Y, and Z from X, Y, and Z program. We had a lot of participants and we're actually running out of spaces in the Zoom meeting since it only allows us just 100 applicants, 100 attendants. So just wanted to make sure that you're going to show up for the webinar tomorrow. Are you sure you're going to be able to make it? We can save your spot if that's something you can do right now. Something like that. Very, very simple. Just to remind them, just so they have some personal contact before the call happens, so before the webinar happens. And we keep following up with them if need to. If we see there's a good lead, if we see someone that's competent, if we have notes from previous leads that have in the funnel but didn't close, make sure they have more value than the others so they can convert after the webinar right away. In terms of the framework that we had for the webinar, I'm not going to take credit and say we invented something new. This is based on JSON plugins. We'll just follow the entire framework. Just feel free to post this and take a look at it. It's a bunch of tutorials, it's a bunch of guidelines, frameworks on how to actually do all these things. And we leverage AI to actually do it. Because once again, you don't want to spend days and days and days and days and days trying to figure out this. So we make sure to get your ICP information, your brand value, your voice, and make sure that everything is tailored to your offer and to your ICP. Obviously following FTC compliance to make sure that we don't get fucked over by them, So as you can see here, a little bit of the presentation, following the same colors, the same branding as we've been using on the webinar landing page and the landing pages that we've had previously. So that's literally all we did with the webinar. In terms of actually converting the viewers to demo calls, first of all, qualification process begins during the presentation. You don't want absolute donkeys in your calls. You don't want them, first of all, because they're going to be shitty clients. Second of all, they're going to be wasting your team's time. So we do call out of who is this specifically for, and most importantly, who is this not for. If you don't want someone in your funnel, if you don't want someone as a client specifically, just tell them. In this case specifically, we couldn't get any Indians or any people that were from third world countries, even if they had the money. Why? Because we couldn't help them in the first place. So we made sure to tell them that unfortunately we won't be able to help them. So don't even bother booking a call. That way we save our team's time by not having disqualified leads on the calls and just having them take those leads that could close in the first place. Here in this one, we were tracking how much every attendant was the webinar, and only on low volume Zoom webinars, tracking whoever was most engaged in the presentation. This, we had to do it manually. On Webinar Jam or other type of webinars that are more high volume, you can just fully automate it, have an Excel spreadsheet, and just track whoever was until the end of the webinar, and whoever was just like half of free or whoever just left at the 20-minute mark, and just start dialing them based on their engagement and based on how much they actually watched that. Second thing that's very, very important, I see a lot of coaches that are not doing this right, is a clear and direct CTA to book a call right away after the webinar. You have to do this the right way. If you do a CTA that's complete ass, people won't be booking in calls. Why? Because they need to be led into the funnel. If not, they would have already done it with your evergreen funnel because they've been following you for a while. And this is the perfect time for you to actually do it because you've nurtured them for 2 hours back to back with a straight up value. So we need to do this. I've seen webinars where they pitched CTAs to DM funnels, CTAs to strategy calls. You want the cash velocity to be as fast as possible. So just make sure they get into a demo call as fast as possible. Have a dialer in the middle if you want, making sure they watch the pre-call resources. Make sure they gather the information the closers might need. And that's it. They watch a video offer letter before the call takes place. How this looks like is pretty much all of this. Feel free to pause, just take a look at this in depth. But we just have the dialer making sure that they dial every single lead that booked the demo after watching, and those who showed up but did not book a call to try to figure out if they would be a good fit and why they didn't book a call. Most of the time they get objections. Typical, I was not ready for it, I couldn't find any time for this. So just make sure that they handle it and that they get them back on the calendar. For strategy call SOPs, we need to make sure that our setter knows who is qualified and who's not all the time. If not, it doesn't make sense. to even have a dialer in the first place, because they're just going to be an order taker just talking for the fuck of it, and they're not going to be able to get the job done, and your shop rate will be hurt. These two alone give us an increase of 20% shop rate in our funnel, going from 60% to 80%, and eventually we got it to 90% on the evergreen funnel as well. And the VOL, which means video offer letter, making sure that they watch a pretty good resource, which is what's the offer, who is this for, who is this not for, testimonials, bad testimonials as well. What happens if you get fucked in the process? What's our guarantee, if you will, even though we don't have any guarantees? What happens? Handling objections, pre-framing objections, making sure that they have all the information that you need so we can get the most amount of laydowns in the calls, which is what you eventually want in your offer. You don't want to be battling with objections all the fucking time. And if you want to know our SDR order of importance, it's always those dates who book the demo call right away. We need to dial them as soon as possible so they have time to watch those pre-call resources, which are obviously they are time consuming for these people, right? Like they're like 20, 30 minutes in total. They get some value email sent to them, so they need to watch that in order to have the highest chance of being a laydown, which is what you want on calls once again. Then let's go there and book a call like I was talking about. And on this webinar specifically, we did it because there was a low volume of applicants. We didn't have like 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 registrants. Dialing all the needs from no show the webinar, reach out personally to send them the replay, and then DM set it over WhatsApp to get them on a demo call. Then one of the things that we did as a last push for this month, which is something that I see a lot of people not doing or that doing it wrong, is upsells. This is how we generated the last 6K for this offer by just doing upsells. With this, you need to just set very strong qualification standards to see which one of your clients is qualified and worth your time, which will result in a higher lifetime value and a better case study, which is what you want to attract more people like them all the time. Then setting timelines within your standard program to understand when to plant the seed, when to actually follow your upsell script so you can upsell them. And obviously build those scripts for your CS team, for your CSM team, or for your coaches, for yourself as well. And just making sure to understand the timing is everything with these guys, and to always keep track of data for upsells, because this can make a difference of 5 to 10K on a low volume offer, or even up to 50K if you have high volume offer, where we've seen this a lot in this space. They just do upsells. They even have a whole team for upsells on the back end. Last thing that I want to talk about here, that I'll probably go more in depth in another video, but it's data tracking. So one of the things that we have here with data tracking is when I came into this offer, they had no systems at all. Just for example, just to tell you guys, I started as a DM setter on this offer. This was my second offer ever. And back then we didn't have any systems at all. We were building out while I was DM setting. So we only had like a Notion page with some formulas and that's it, you know? And at the same time, people weren't filling out the forms. We weren't like filling out all the cash collected. We're just tracking everything with Stripe and just going with the flow. If you want to scale to 50, 100K months, 150K months and beyond that, you need to know what's happening in every single step of your process. Why? Because you cannot be emotional about the inconsistencies in this space, which is something that's real. Like it's something that happens a lot. If you get emotional with that, you're going to act out of scarcity, and you don't want that to happen. Right now, we're tracking literally everything here, and I can show you all the marketing dashboards, setting dashboards that we have, closing dashboards that we have. That way, when something is failing in the business, when it's not going the way that we want it to go, we just look at the data. We figure out we have this metric, we have this other metric, and we just, if it is working, we keep it going. If it's not working, we go back to data. That way we can make a logical decision and say, how do we fix it? Okay, we need to train up the sales team more. We need to create more friction in the funnel. We need to do this or we need to do that. That way you always know what's happening. And even with your closers, like I see some people that are not tracking anything with their closers, they're only tracking close rate. On this offer specifically, we're even tracking all of the limiting beliefs, like what's the percentage of people that are giving us objection and which one is the objection that we get most. That way we can always use it to target that objection and prevent that objection either in the thank you page or the YouTube channel. We're actually creating content and take that out of your close clients, because that's the people that you want to attract all the time. So that's why it's so important to have data tracking. Even for marketing, as I can show you here, we need to have a specific set of data that shows us which ad they're coming from, which ad is giving us the most cash collected, what campaign is giving us the most amount of return on investment, on ad spend. Yeah, so that's pretty much how we got to 72K cash collected, only through organic content, only through organic webinars, with a very, very low volume of calls, obviously. I just wanted to say that this looks different for every single offer. It's very nuanced to each offer. Some offers require more complexity, some offers require less complexity. Depends on your audience, your branding, your ICP, all those things, right? So just to give you an example, with this exact same offer, after maxing out organic, we're switching to paid traffic. So you see something like this or this. right? So it is not the same for every single one of the offers that we work with, and we need tailored solutions for each one. So if you found this valuable and you're an infoproduct coach, infoproduct owner, and you would like to see how these systems will apply to you, how it would be tailored to your business specifically, have the Calendly link, my personal Calendly link in the description. So feel free to just have a chat. We'll figure out if you're a good fit for us. We'll figure out what we can do for you. If we can't do anything for you, I'll be the first one to tell you, like, this is not for you, or you're too good for us, or it is below or ICP. Those things, right? We don't want to sell something that we feel like we'll get no return on investment from our end and your end as well. So that's pretty much it. I'll leave you with that.